Think the Caribbean is all beaches and palm trees? Think again, because the Caribbean is actually home to some of the most densely populated cities in the world. These Caribbean cities are not all about beaches. Instead, they have towering skylines, bustling markets, and millions of people calling these urban centers home. From concrete jungles to vibrant cultural hubs, these cities are where history, industry, and population growth collide. In this video, we will walk you through the top 10 most populated cities in the Caribbean. Let's get right into it with our first city at number 10, Holguin, Cuba. The city that Columbus called the most beautiful land eyes have ever seen is, in fact, home to thousands of people. In 1523, Conquistador Diego Velázquez de Cuellar offered some land to a military officer called Captain Francisco Garcia Holguin to establish a settlement. The city that stands here today is named San Isidoro de Holguin after the officer. A major city located in the fertile rolling plains in eastern Cuba, Holguin has been the center of insurgency movements and suffered greatly during the 10 Years' War and the 1895-98 independence struggle. However, today, this city is an important trading center for the century, focusing on the production of cigars, ceramics, shoes, and furniture. Not just that, the city is also a hub for sugar refining and meat processing. Jibara Port is among the densest areas and has the nickname La Villa Blanca, or the White Town. Various colonial structures like the Villa de Guevara still stand here and are popular tourist destinations. The city has a population of nearly 303,000, according to the last recorded UN data. Not only is it the fourth largest city in the country, but it also lends its name to the Holguin province. The Holguin province, with a population of over 1 million people spread across 9,300 square kilometers, 3,600 square miles, is Cuba's third largest tourist destination. Known for its stunning beaches and historic landmarks, it also boasts lush forests covering 25% of its area, along with several national parks that attract nature enthusiasts. Prior to European colonization, Holguin was a Taino settlement, home to indigenous people who lived in simple huts. The Taino, the original inhabitants of the Greater Antilles and surrounding islands, left a lasting impact on the region, with their cultural influence still visible in the area today, even after centuries of urban development. The city is also renowned for its religious heritage, with stunning neoclassical churches scattered throughout the streets, leading to shaded plazas and colonial-era homes along tree-lined avenues. You'll notice that the plazas are elevated, a result of past flooding. As you move away from the bustling city center, you'll find several coastal towns popular with tourists. Holguin is also celebrated for its rich culinary scene and offers easy access to the pristine Caribbean coast. Another city from Cuba stands at number 9 from this list, and that is Camagüey, Cuba. One of the earliest villages founded by Spain in Cuba, Camagüey has a rich and fascinating history. In 1514, Spanish colonialists established a settlement known as Santa María del Puerto del Príncipe on the northern coast. However, in 1528, they relocated it inland to a Taino village, where it remains as Camagüey to this day. The influence of Taino culture is still deeply woven into the region's music, food, architecture, and dialect. After Henry Morgan sacked the city during the 17th century Anglo-Spanish War, it was redesigned as a maze with irregular blocks and serpentine streets to confuse future attackers. The labyrinthine alleys become increasingly dense in the heart of the city. After confusing the visitors for a while, they open up to beautiful colonial squares, sometimes with Baroque churches among other surprises. The plazas showcase a blend of European architectural styles, including neoclassical, Art Deco, Art Nouveau, and Rationalism, creating a striking visual display on the region's rich history. Relatively isolated from traditional trade routes, the city is situated between rivers Hatibonico and Tinima. It is a flat terrain with no significant hills, and over the centuries, this area became known for cattle breeding and sugar production. The clay pots used to capture rainwater became the city's symbol, coining the term Ciudad de los Tinajos de Arcilla, or City of Clay Pots, which can be seen around the streets to this day. Meanwhile, migration from rural areas gradually boosted the population, which, according to the 2022 census, is now close to 333,000. Covering an area of nearly 427 square kilometers or 1,106 square miles, the city has a population density of about 300 people per square kilometer or 780 people per square mile. In this bustling city, the nightlife is good, but Nomad Watch claims that indoor recreation is fairly limited and blackouts are also not uncommon. Next up, we have another Cuban city standing at number 8, Santiago de Cuba, Cuba. Cuba's second largest city, Santiago de Cuba, was also founded by conquistador Diego Velázquez in 1515 along the southern coast. However, the settlement was destroyed the following year and had to be rebuilt. Santiago was the capital city of the Spanish colony of Cuba, and Hernán Cortés used this as a starting ground for his expeditions. In the 16th century, the French plundered Santiago de Cuba, followed by the English in the 17th century, twice. These invasions brought French and British immigrants and influences to the city. The Spanish ruled Cuba until the late 19th century, after which the US briefly took control and continued its involvement for decades. During both Spanish and American rule, the slave trade fueled the rapid expansion of sugar plantations in the region. African slaves arrived through Santiago de Cuba Bay on the Caribbean coast, helping the city quickly rise as a major hub. The Haitian slave revolts, along with other conflicts, brought immigrants from various ethnic backgrounds. Today, the 443,000 people living in Santiago de Cuba's urban areas reflect this rich ethnic diversity. The city is known for a bunch of things. As the birthplace of the Cuban Revolution, as well as the center for the Cuban government for over half a century, the city holds a special place. It's also known as the Hero City of Cuba because it has been the hotspot for almost all decisive clashes in history. When in the city, you should visit the Plaza de la Revolución Square and the Museum of the Clandestine Struggle, as these places serve as a reminder of the city's violent past. Fidel Castro and Cuba's ideological father, José Martí, are both buried in Santiago de Cuba. Music is also a defining feature of the region, with the Casa de la Trova recognized as a national shrine to Cuban music. The sounds of trova can be heard through events like the Carnival de Santiago de Cuba, one of the Caribbean's most vibrant festivals, celebrated every July. Coming in at number 7, we have the capital of cool, Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. Some people may be surprised to see Port of Spain here because the municipal population is only around 50,000. However, the larger metropolitan areas, including surrounding suburbs and areas, boast a population of nearly 546,000. Port of Spain was founded in 1560 as a settlement by Spanish colonialists near a fishing village. The soldiers established a garrison near what is today the city's eastern boundary. The area was a military, administrative, commercial capital, and it was definitely not designed to house massive populations. In 1757, when the British got hold of the city, they turned it into the colony's capital. With the British, the plantation economy grew, and so did the city boundaries. Workers and laborers lived outside official city limits. When migration intensified during the 19th century oil and port expansions, population density increased tenfold. While these surrounding fringes were never officially merged into the city, they became part of the massive post-World War II urban sprawl. The municipal boundaries of the city cover less than 13 square kilometers, but these surrounding areas form an urban continuum. The city's 13 square kilometers are quite dense due to early vertical expansion. According to a 2011 census, its population density stands at 3,639 people per square kilometer, or 9,420 people per square mile. This area is rather commercialized, and the population within these boundaries has been decreasing since the 60s, when it peaked at nearly 100,000 people. The dense downtown area of Port of Spain draws lucrative service sector jobs, driving up occupancy rates and real estate prices. Port of Spain and its surrounding areas have seen considerable gentrification. For example, the large urban park, the Savannah, acts as a buffer between the bustling central regions and the more upscale neighborhoods to the north. The city is largely known as the carnival capital of the Caribbean. Every February, it draws thousands of tourists as the streets come alive with vibrant parades, energetic dancing, and steel pan music exhibitions during the Trinidadian Carnival. By the way, if you think this video is interesting and you're enjoying it so far, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. Thank you. Now at number 6, we have Kingston, Jamaica. This is another city known for its carnival and party celebrations. But that's not all about it. In fact, this is the city with which we crossed the 1 million mark. The Jamaican capital, distinctly divided into downtown and uptown parts, has a population of just under 1.2 million. The New Jamaica, as it's famously known, isn't just an economic policy. It's a marked change in Jamaica's identity. Downtown Kingston was always home to working class and lower income families. However, Knutsford Park, a nearby horse racing track, was the meeting ground for the elites. As interest in horse racing dwindled, the land was sold, and over the next couple of decades, ambitious commercial plans were made for the area. This area has now transformed into the New Kingston, a modern area geared toward a lavish lifestyle, attracting the finance crowd, real estate developers, and tourists. And now, as the New Kingston is established, the distinction between the two classes has become clearer. It's interesting to think that this same region was once known for being a pirate haven in the 17th century. After the notorious Port Royal was destroyed in an earthquake, Kingston was established as a parish in 1693. It would later become the trading and administrative capital of Jamaica in the 18th century. As the port developed, it drew more people from surrounding rural areas. Over time, slow urban growth inland has resulted in a dense, fragmented sprawl, making Kingston a melting pot of architectural, musical, and cultural influences. Today, the city faces several challenges, including high crime rates, gentrification, low purchasing power, and pollution. Despite these issues, Kingston remains a major destination for the Jamaica Carnival, held every year between March and April. Up next, at number 5, we have Santiago de los Caballeros, the Dominican Republic. Santiago de los Caballeros, in the Dominican Republic, slightly surpasses Kingston in population, making it a closer competitor to Jamaica's capital. It also has a population of 1.2 million, but unlike Kingston, it is only the country's second largest city. It was founded as a settlement either by Christopher Columbus in 1495 or the following year by his brother Bartholomew Columbus. In 1504, 30 gentlemen, or caballeros, relocated from near La Isabela to Santiago, giving the city its name, Santiago de los Caballeros. Later in 1562, the city was destroyed by an earthquake and had to be rebuilt a few miles away. But even after that, several earthquakes and fires would haunt the city in the following years. However, despite all the issues, The city remained a key site during the Dominican independence movements and a center of power in the country's north. As you walk through the streets today, the Spanish influence is evident. The city is situated at a perfect spot in the Cibaya Valley, cupped between the Cordillera Central and Cordillera North mountain ranges. The nearby Yaque del Norte River provides water access and a great irrigation setup. This area is known as the Cibaya region, since the Cibaya River is its lifeblood. Santiago de los Caballeros is considered the region's capital and produces 1/3 of its GDP. The city manufactures finished products, including Cibaya cigars, textiles, dairy, and rum. It is the nation's second largest GDP producer, only behind the capital Santo Domingo. Santiago has a large middle-class population that enjoys all the privileges of living in a big city with a significantly lower cost of living compared to the capital. A one-bedroom apartment in the city center averages a little under $500. Once you move away from the city center, that average drops down significantly under $300. And if you still want to have fun in Santo Domingo, you only have to drive 83 miles to get there. And now with our number 4 entry, we once again land in Cuba, Havana, Cuba. Once known as the Paris of the Caribbean, Havana is Cuba's largest and most populated city. It has long been a haven for those drawn to casinos, luxury, and other vices. This is a city full of contradictions and paradoxes. But before diving into those, let's start with its origins, as they may help unravel some of these mysteries. Originally founded in 1519, it served as the Spanish base for the conquest of the Americas. They valued it for its prime geographical location with a sheltered harbor. As such, the city was the epitome of art, culture, and glamour. However, most of it has since fallen into a state of disrepair. This contrast is best understood as the pre-Castro and post-Castro eras. Havana was a mecca for American tourists before Fidel Castro came to power in 1959. While the luster of the nightlife didn't completely fade away, it did lose some of its charm as Castro's socialist agenda directed major resources toward improving conditions in rural Cuba. The urban grounds also became a breeding ground for revolutionaries, and the city became a symbol of resistance against Western hegemony and anti-colonial struggles. Since the Spanish originally designed the city to repel attackers, they built walls and forts. Ruins of these and several other monuments can still be found in the city. Havana is a haven for both artists and patrons, with its iconic locations pulsating with Afro-Caribbean rhythms at night. The city is divided into the historic Old Havana, the business district of Vedado, and newer suburban areas. Home to 2.1 million people, each carrying their own secrets, Havana attracts over 1 million tourists annually, drawn by its unique literary voices, visual arts, and vibrant cultural scene. Coming in at number 3, we've got San Juan, Puerto Rico. The territory's largest city is under U.S. jurisdiction and is a major tourist spot for mainland Americans. The Taíno people had a small fishing village here before Ponce de Leon arrived in 1508 and established a small settlement named Capara. The settlement was moved to its current location the next year and was named Puerto Rico, Spanish for Rich Port. Its formal name was later changed to San Juan, sometimes colloquially referred to as Ciudad de Puerto Rico or Rich Port City. San Juan was another major cultural and political hub for the colonizers. Just like Havana, the old meets the new here. Golden beaches, cobblestone streets, and colonial-era architecture blend seamlessly with mega shopping malls, high-rise apartments, and condos. San Juan is home to nearly 76% of Puerto Rico's population, which amounts to just over 2.4 million people. Puerto Rico became a U.S. territory in the late 1890s and industrial expansion started in the mid-19th century. The old San Juan, hidden behind Spanish fortifications and walls, stretched out onto the largely flat terrain east, west, and south of the ocean. By the 1980s, the city had already attracted 1/3 of Puerto Rico's population, a figure that now seems small compared to the numbers today. This is a city with all sorts of flavors. Culture thrives in the corners of densely populated central districts like Santurce. Old San Juan is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, showcasing great Spanish, Gothic, Baroque, and Art Deco architecture. In such a large city, the quality of life varies significantly, with rent for luxury apartments reaching up to $6,500 per month, making it more expensive than cities like Chicago. As part of the US, San Juan benefits from American infrastructure, but challenges like unemployment, debt, and migration issues persist in the surrounding areas. Up next, we have Port-au-Prince, Haiti, at number 2. The Haitian capital was also a Taino settlement in its pre-colonial days. By the late 17th century, the island of Hispaniola, now home to both Haiti and the Dominican Republic, was occupied by the French in the west and the Spanish in the east. The French colony had a rigid classist and racist structure, which involved a massive plantation economy based on African slave labor. The city suffered from fires and earthquakes, which obliterated the lower classes. After several slave revolts and civil struggles, Haiti earned its independence in the early 19th century. Port-au-Prince became the country's capital in 1804. At this time, it was a highly gentrified city, with mulattoes and non-blacks living in upscale suburbs, while the lower class barely got by in squalor. Another 20-year occupation, this time by the Americans in the early 20th century, didn't help. Sanitation got better, but pretty much everything else went down the gutter, and things got even worse after the occupation. The 2010 earthquake was the straw that broke the camel's back. Its epicenter, southwest of Port-au-Prince. The death toll was between 100,000 and 316,000, and the city was nothing less than a plot of rubble. However, despite the massive donations and international aid, Port-au-Prince never fully recovered. Currently, nearly 3.1 million people live in the city. If we use that number to establish the population density, we get 16,523 people per square kilometer, or 42,790 people per square mile. Today, the city is in the throes of gang wars, and according to the latest reports, the gangs control nearly 90% of the capital city. And now at number 1, we've got Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. While violence rages on in the western half of Hispaniola, the eastern half is home to some of the richest people in the Caribbean. The Dominican Republic is one of the best performing economies in the region, and its capital city, Santo Domingo, is the perfect example to illustrate that point. This is a massive city of 3.6 million people, with only the city center being home to more than 1 million of them. Santo Domingo is the oldest continuously inhabited European settlement in the Americas. Founded in 1493, Bartholomew Columbus officially named it La Nueva Isabela to pay tribute to Queen Isabella I of Spain. It was renamed to Santo Domingo in honor of Saint Dominic 2 years later. This place was the gateway to the Caribbean, responsible for several European expeditions into parts of the New World. Santo Domingo was also home to the first major slave revolt in the Americas in 1521, when workers rose on the sugar plantation of Diego Columbus, the son of Christopher Columbus. It was a city of many firsts, home to the first European cathedral, hospital, fortress, and palace in the New World. The city would change hands multiple times over the next few centuries. For a brief period, it even fell to the newly independent Haitian slaves, their Hispaniola neighbors. Santo Domingo is an industrial and financial center today, unlike any other in the entire Caribbean. A moderate to good lifestyle can cost you nearly $1,800 per month. These cities in the Caribbean show us that there's much more than what meets the eye. Behind the beauty of the beaches and palm trees are bustling urban centers that are full of life, history, and culture. The people of these cities have faced challenges, but they've built communities that continue to grow and thrive. As the Caribbean moves forward, these cities will continue to evolve, shaping a future full of hope, innovation, and endless possibilities. If you enjoyed this video, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Which city surprised you the most? And what do you think make these urban centers stand out from the rest of the region? Drop your answers in the comments below. Also, check out our video on the 10 wealthiest countries in the Caribbean. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update from us. Stay connected and be part of our growing community. This is Caribbean Focus, and we'll see you in the next video.